Faith is a journey.
Welcome back to another episode of Faith is a Journey. Today we're going to be going over the book of Ecclesiastes, and this one's going to be titled Striving After Wind. If you've ever read Ecclesiastes, you'll know why we're calling it that, because everywhere, in almost every chapter of this, the author, who scholars say is Solomon, says that most of what we do is just striving after wind.
Yeah, this is going to be a fun episode. I mean, you can take us through kind of how you came upon this. And this is one that I didn't even know how to really pronounce it before. And frankly, it's an Old Testament short.
Yeah, relatively a short book for the Old Testament.
Yeah. So you started to dive into this, and then it just got me to be inspired to read it. And I said, you know what? Why don't we talk about it in one of our episodes? Because I read somewhere too that a lot of times people say this is a book that a lot of times churches don't address because it doesn't come across as all optimistic and positive. It can come across as, sort of depressing if you don't look at it.
Especially when he says you're better off if you're not even born.
Yeah. So
little things like that.
So I'll let you take it from here, and then we'll just sort of take this sort of as a study of what it kind of means to us, and maybe it hopes to inspire you as a listener out there.
Okay, so this is how it came about. I had a dream a few nights ago, and just to cut it short for the purposes of everything we're doing here, basically I found myself in a dry creek bed looking at old animal bones scattered in the dirt, and I just barely had to scratch the surface, and underneath the surface, the ground was damp. And the first thing I pull up was this bone, a little animal bone, and it was broken, like most of the bones that were scattered around. And I could see the inside of the bone and could see that it really wasn't that old. Had a little bit of the marrow still in the center of it. And so I'm kind of digging around, and I know that I'm looking for something. I just don't know what it is, or maybe in my dream I did know, but I didn't remember when I woke up. I'm not sure. Next thing I know, I see a little bit of water trickling down the creek. And before I know it, I look to my left, and there's this old man standing there, and the water is suddenly flowing. It's maybe just not even up to our knees, really, at that point. And he's wearing this tunic, this old, tattered tunic, and he's got this gray beard, and he's pretty calm. I'm kind of, not desperately searching, but I know I'm searching for something, and I'm working pretty hard trying to dig through this dirt, and now there's water going, and I'm just watching things go past me in the water, and he's pretty calm, but still, it was obvious he was there to help me. So the water's really flowing at this point, and what flows past me is this full rabbit pelt, and I remember being so excited about that, and commenting on it and thinking, wow, that's so amazing that this full pelt just goes floating past in the water. And the old man said something to me at that point. And in my dream, I remember thinking, no, that can't be right. And then I woke up, I think pretty much right after that, I believe. And so I remember what I did was I was talking to a friend of mine, and I recounted this dream to her. And I said, it felt really, for me to remember dreams, I do remember a lot of my dreams, but it was one of those dreams that was very vivid and very detailed. And it really bothered me that I could not remember what this old man said. So she directed me to Ecclesiastes because she felt like this dream was a lot about me not being obedient, which, kind of a difficult thing to hear, honestly, when I'm trying so hard. And I think that is exactly the point, that I am relying on my own understanding, my own hard work, digging in that dirt, because I am so used to just how I do things. So anyway, so she directs me to Ecclesiastes. And so I'm reading this, I actually started reading it last night, and thinking, gosh, why did she send me to Ecclesiastes? Because it really is kind of negative. But when I got to the end, I was like, oh, okay. Because really, it is all about just getting down to the basics of it really, we strive for so much. And there's this phrase, striving after wind, over and over and over in this book. So then the next day I tell my husband about it and he starts reading it, and it's really, neither of us have ever read it, but you might be surprised. I don't know what generation you are, or whoever's listening, but there is an old song, I believe, is it by the Byrds?
Yes.
Okay. It was a little before my time, but I still remember the song. And
Turn, turn, turn.
yeah, turn, turn, turn. There's a time for everything in life. That's where that song comes from. There's a time to live, a time to die, time to love, a time to hate, time for war and a time for peace. All of that comes from the book of Ecclesiastes. So, which is really interesting, but it's all about the striving for things in life. And I can see why now she directed me to this book, because really at the very end of it, but we'll go through Ecclesiastes, but really I want to kind of jump to the end right now. The very last or second to last verse, it literally says, after everything's been said and done, what you need to know is fear God and keep his commandments. That's what it all boils down to.
Right. And it shows, I mean, when you gave me this and said, hey, I'm reading this, and I said, you know what, I'll take a look at it myself. The first thing I open up, it says, the first chapter is like, the futility of all endeavors. I mean, when you see that, it's just basically saying that everything you do is futile.
Yeah, which sounds pretty depressing and negative.
Yeah.
So it sort of like leads you to, okay, so why am I here?
So then if you look at it that way, and then you said you read the whole thing, and then I just finished it here literally about a half an hour ago. Really, it starts out with the idea is like, you achieve these things in life, whatever it is, and then you end up still feeling empty about them. Mm-hmm. You still feel empty. Mm-hmm. And I don't care what it is. I mean, if it's maybe achieving something in your work life or your personal life, you're always left wanting more. And, why do people who are driven out there, people who want to succeed, even when they achieve all the things that they want to do, this basically says everybody's going to die anyway.
Yeah.
You're all going to end up in the same place.
Yeah, the wise man or the fool, everything ends the same for both of you.
Yeah.
You die.
And like I said before, this is a kind of a chapter, or I should say a book, that a lot of churches don't talk about, because, it's not going to be one of those, raw kind of things. It's basically, and here's how I look at it. This is written by, like you said, Solomon, or one of his scribes that was helping him, or somebody that was close to him. But what this is God, my interpretation of this is God actually letting a truthful person here describe all they went through, describe everything about life, and giving us kind of a playbook, I would say, almost like, hey, I made all these mistakes.
Yeah, sort of like learn from my mistakes. Don't make these same mistakes.
Yeah.
He goes through how he accumulated everything. He had more than anybody and kept seeking more, the biggest vineyards and the biggest gardens and the most fruit and the most slaves and the most flocks and herds, larger than any other. And it was all striving after wind, and there was no profit, is what he says. It was all vanity and striving after wind, and there was no profit under the sun.
He's not losing faith in God at all.
If anything, I think it validates his faith.
He's pointing out the fact that a lot of the things that we believe in life are just simply lies.
Yeah.
And that without God at the center of it, it's all empty. Mm. So basically, you can have all the wisdom you want, and it doesn't matter, because it's not going to be complete. And meaning that we put on our lives, we don't understand. We only have human limits that we have. So basically, Solomon's laid out all these things in life, the failings in life, so we don't have to. The dead ends. We assume that we're so much smarter today, but aren't we, as all people, aren't we all still doing the same mistakes? We're all striving for the same things and finding emptiness.
Yeah. In fact, I can't find the line right now, but he does say in here something that everything has already been done.
Yep.
Everything's already been discovered. It's just all we do, generation after generation. We do the same things over and over.
But
It
here's-
appears to be new, but it's really, there's nothing new that we're doing.
I'm just pull something right out of the scripture right here. You look at this, right here. It says, I amassed for myself silver and gold and the treasures of kings and provinces. He did everything, wealth, whether it was knowledge, whatever it was. At the end, it was striving after wind, all of it. Everything almost ends with striving after wind, the futility of it all. To me, it speaks to me in a way that it makes me re-examine my own life. How about you?
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, that dream after I dove into it really, I can't tell you how disturbed I was that I couldn't remember what the guy said. Like, I just kept telling myself, if I can just remember, then I'll have the answer and I'll find what I was looking for. And this is really meaningful. And my friend just looked at me. She's like, that's not even the point.
Yeah.
You don't have to, the whole point is that you couldn't hear what he said or forgot what he said. That is the point, because it proves that you discounted the wisdom of God, basically, for your own understanding of how things work.
Yeah, it was a really interesting dream you had. Really,
Yeah.
really interesting. And it made me realize, I'm applying this to my own life now and thinking about it. And I want you to do this too. Well, I'll let you do it first. You tell me from your angle and perspective, what are some of the things that you have put into your life that this applies to you, that's striving into the wind?
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, he does say in here a lot that you need to, it's okay to make a lot of money or to have a lot of things, but you need to enjoy it. You have to let yourself enjoy it and also give the credit where it's due.
Because it's from God. This
It's
is the gift from God. Yeah.
To be
Enjoy it.
to be grateful for what you have and to enjoy it.
Right.
Not to continue to strive for more and more and more to the point that you're just constantly working or constantly searching, and you never give gratitude to God for what you have achieved, or through him, through his graciousness, or however you want to word it.
Well, let me actually point to that here. It's in chapter, of Ecclesiastes.
Chapter 3?
Chapter 3.
No.
And it's verse 12. It says, I know that there is nothing better for them to rejoice and do good in one's lifetime. Moreover, that every person who eats and drinks and sees good in all his labor, this is a gift of God.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that everything God does will remain forever. And there is nothing to add to it, and there's nothing to take from it. Okay, so basically right there, enjoy the labor you did, because all of it's a gift from God.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. You can't, I guess, you're not supposed to do is continue to you can strive for more and all this, but then it ends up becoming a fruitless futility. This is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's hard for a lot of people. Like for myself personally, when I think about it, is as a competitive person, a person has drive to want to always be out there in front of things, being successful, building a company into a huge national company, business, and all that stuff. It was always about doing more, striving for more, achieving more. But every time you would get to every different level, you meet a certain revenue goal, or you meet a goal of like adding a number of clients or whatever it was, or got another award. It's like, then that was it. It's like, okay, well then I still feel empty. You know what I'm saying? It's just like,
Yeah.
it's like there was always something that didn't feel good enough, and you look back, and even, one thing, it says not to look back. Doesn't it say that? It does say that.
Yeah, you don't want to romanticize the past.
And I'm going to pull that up right here, where I think that was very important too. There, it talks about, it's in chapter 7. It goes through wisdom and foolishness contrasted, and tells you all the different contrasts. And one of them right there, it says, do not say, why is it that the former days were better than these? For it is not from wisdom that you ask about this. That's like, don't go back in the past and just, it's okay to think back, some good thoughts, but to sit there and live in the past, that's not wisdom.
I mean, you and I talk about this a lot, how people often say, oh, those were the quote unquote, the glory days. And, I enjoyed my college days so much, and there's really nothing that has ever been the same, or the high school years or what have you. And you and I just had very different experiences. We don't look back on those days and think, oh, those were the best times. But there are some things in our past, I think we think about, things were so much more simple then. And why can't I, why can't I feel that way again, and just kind of be carefree.
We act like there was a golden age of time that we
Yeah.
had, but the reality is, if you read this, he speaks about the same exact things. There was always somebody thinking, "Hey, there's these were great times. Everybody's achieving something that they feel is great at one time, and then they feel empty." That, to me, that was kind of the thing I took away from it. You can have temporary happiness for a quick achievement, but it's fleeting. That's how I feel about it.
Yeah, because then you want to replace that with the next achievement.
Yep. So here's some things that I think that maybe this applies to you out there, and then I'll hit like 3 key illusions that I kind of came up with, and you can speak to these as well. That I think in life we feel that achievement will make you happy. That'll complete you. And do you feel that in your own life? Like if you achieve something, how do you feel about that?
Yeah, I feel like I'm always searching for that thing that's gonna.
Well, you search about wanting to say, "Hey, I want to show that I'm valuable."
Yeah, I do.
Prove something.
Don't I? Yeah, I do. I always want to say I want to be the one to make the money for our family. I want to be able to support our family.
You want to contribute. You want to do this, and you want to be successful in something that you feel like is your own, don't you? Like, hey, look, I did this on my own. I know that's been one of the things you've wanted.
Yeah, yeah.
And in many ways, you actually have. There are achievements you've done by raising a great family here. Look, you did great with the kids.
Yeah.
And sometimes we discount. I think a lot of times we discount the things that we should be thankful for right in front of our own face.
Totally agree with you.
Because we're always searching for what society wants us to say is achievement.
Yeah, that's so true. Yeah.
You know?
I mean, these days, society doesn't value family
not as much
much.
as it did in
No,
past that we think. You know,
right.
I don't know. I mean,
The effort that you put into raising a good family, and it's not a lot of value put on that.
All right, let's jump to another one here. What's your thoughts on this? More knowledge equals more peace. Like, do you feel like that you're searching for knowledge all the time?
I think I have that attitude, don't you?
Yeah, I think a lot of times a lot of people do that, and I think that's where we in society get caught up. Like, hey, if there's just this one more thing I can discover, if I can get a little bit more knowledge on one thing, then that'll satisfy me. But you know what? If you're a person that's lying in bed at night, having all these thoughts go through your head, always wanting to know more about something, I think society is like an endless quest for knowledge, and that's wearisome. Doesn't it say that somewhere?
Oh yeah, it does. It says that it makes your body weary.
What does it say? Does it say that?
Let me see if I can find it. I'm gonna have to search for it. I know I underlined it.
You can search for
but
that.
It's something about. Yeah, it was something about books, but I think how that translates really is the knowledge that you get from reading all these books. It's not worth it because it just makes you weary. It's almost like it's having all of that knowledge really does you no good, because really the only knowledge you need is to know God.
Right. And that's the thing. I don't think Solomon's basically saying that wisdom and knowledge is a bad thing. We got to have it. But when you get to the point where it just becomes the overpowering thing here, you have to put it in perspective. It doesn't matter in the end. And like you said at the end, all that matters is whether you fear God and keep his commandments.
Right.
That's what it all boils down to.
Stay obedient. Yeah.
Yep. I'm going to hit number 3 while you're looking for that there about the weariness of knowledge. But I'll go to the third one. I think is that hard work guarantees satisfaction. I think we've lived in a society that, and I believe this too myself, that if you work hard, you do the right thing, you're going to be satisfied. And it goes back to that sort of achievement mindset, especially for a type A personality, or those, the ones that are just aggressively wants to be successful. But if you work so hard and you never enjoy yourself, you just burn yourself out. You become anxious. You can have sleepless nights. And I think, but I think you get that way too. Don't yours in your mind run in the middle of the night sometimes?
Yeah, I've often said to you, I wish there was a switch I could turn my brain off so I could just get some rest.
Because you're always...
overthink way too much.
Yep.
Well, I can't find that verse, but it's in there somewhere. So
Yeah.
I encourage everybody to read it and find that verse. But you know what I did come across that I did underline?
What?
And this speaks to the whole knowledge and being older and wiser. It's almost like I kind of feel like he's saying through the entire book, don't be one extreme or the other. Don't be a fool, but don't chase so much knowledge either. And this line, I think, sums that up. A poor yet wise lad is better than an old and foolish king who no longer knows how to receive instruction.
Wow.
I think that speaks to this whole idea of we chase knowledge so much and then we think we're so smart, we have all of the answers, that we're refusing to get instruction from God, really, is what he's saying.
Yeah. Let me ask you this question.
Yeah.
Do you ever feel like that in the chasing of success or whatever in our own lives, that we do it, whatever we're doing, that we don't even take the time to stop and just be thankful for what we have?
Yeah, I see that more in you than me, but maybe I'm just not being very self-reflective.
No, I think you're right.
I see that in you a lot.
Mm-hmm. Because I'm always figuring I have to do the next big thing, or I
Mhm.
got the next mission I have to accomplish.
Mhm.
And so I never actually take a breath and actually, like you said, just rest
Yeah.
and enjoy being around. And like, I think I'm better at it now, but enjoying this
Well,
time.
I'll share this with everybody. This is everyone. My husband is somebody that for 20 years I've been telling him to tell everybody in the company that you are taking vacation time.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can log out. Nobody's going to expect you to be available.
Mm-hmm.
He does not take vacation time.
Well, I'll tell you
He'll
that.
tell me, "Oh yeah, I'm not going to work this afternoon." But of course, then inevitably, what happens?
I work anyway because
You
I feel
work
like
anyway because you didn't tell anybody else but me, and so they're calling you and emailing you and texting you, and because they don't know that you're.
well, then that goes back to that whole thing where I feel like I have to be on all the time because I have to show other people that I'm working hard. And again,
Yeah.
that in itself is sort of that
And where has that? That's striving after
Fuel.
win too.
futility.
Yeah.
Yep, it's futility.
Uh-huh.
And when in
And
reality,
we haven't said the word yet because it honestly kind of bothers me. But he says vanity. It's vanity and striving after wind. The word vanity kind of bothers me because it seems so selfish. But maybe that means I need to examine that in
Right.
myself a little bit
how are we
more.
seen by others too? Like we
Yeah.
want to be seen as the one who's still working hard or the one who's actually
Yeah.
still working and achieving. But what end though? To this
Right.
point, you burn yourself out.
Yep, exactly. And that's exactly what it warns about in
Yeah.
here.
Yep.
It
Exactly.
does say that if you toil without enjoying the fruits of your labor is burnout.
Yep.
You have got to let yourself. In fact, I didn't even realize this is where this. At least this is the translation we have. The phrase "eat, drink, and be merry."
Yeah.
It's directly
It,
comes.
it comes from that. Yeah.
Not
totally.
that we drink, but
I know. Exactly. As we get ready to kind of wrap this up, it's such a short, like 12 chapters but it has a lot of power to it.
it
and
does.
we highly
It's very
recommend that you
powerful.
read it.
Yeah, very powerful.
And one thing I want to speak to before we close, that couple things that were talking to me is about wrestling with some of the things. And this goes back to that part where it said not dwelling on the past. It's a wisdom about contrasting things. It says wisdom and foolishness contrasted. This is chapter 7. And it says, and the day of one's death is better than the day of one's birth. It's the better to go to a house of mourning than to go to a house of feasting. And I kind of translated that into something that happened to me this year personally, is that my father passed away. And I take that as saying, you know what I learned out of this year was that to value the life that you have now while you're living it. Because a lot of us just go through with feeling like everything's guaranteed. You wake up every day, you're going to go do whatever you want. And it just becomes a habit.
Yeah.
Whereas that pain and that, what I went through and still going through here, because it's a missing piece of my life, is that it teaches you more about being thankful for what you have with God and the time that you have.
Yeah, and I think his point in that verse that you just read was going to a funeral makes you a lot more introspective. And it makes you realize I better live now, enjoy my life now, be grateful to God now, because it could be gone tomorrow.
Right.
Yeah,
Yep.
it really makes you see how life is fleeting.
Well, do you feel like in some ways this has made you kind of reevaluate the importance of letting go of your control of things? Like
Yeah,
me,
oh my
it has.
gosh, yeah, it kind of scared me in a way, to be honest with you.
It's basically letting go of control and just trusting
Yeah.
in God. See, it's easy to say trust in God, but
Right. There's so many lessons in such a short book, but for me, just because of the dream that I had. And again, like we always do, we encourage people listening to go read what we're talking about. Just read this book and see what in it applies to you. But what applies to me really is that whole lesson of, as I'm trying way too hard.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing, so it was the obedience part, follow his commandments, fear God. But then there's also this underlying message of gratitude towards God through this entire book. And when you and I were talking about this morning, what modern story did I bring up that it reminded me of? Do you remember?
Oh, wasn't it the Grinch?
Yeah. Yeah, how the Grinch
And I don't know if
stole
that fits, but I mean, let's just go with it.
I've been watching it in a long time, but how the Grinch stole Christmas, how he took their tree, I think, and he took all their presents and he took their roast beast. And what did he wake up to Christmas morning? The sound of them singing anyways. They were still grateful because he was thinking it was all these things that made them happy, but that it wasn't all those things that made them happy. They had gratitude anyway.
Yeah.
They woke up that morning. They were grateful for their lives. They were grateful for each other. And
yeah, and I think you're right. That's a good example. It really is. And I think we have to remember the Ecclesiastes itself here doesn't answer everything. It's just a lot of questions. This is somebody wrestling with the reality of life. And faith is not about certainty. It's about basically having trust when you don't have all the answers.
Yeah, it's about allowing yourself to be uncertain.
Yep.
And being okay with that. But, I have to say, I know you're trying to wrap this up, but I kind of disagree with you. I think it does have the answer at the very end. Those last two verses do give you the answer. That's the conclusion. And in fact, he says, in conclusion.
Okay.
That's the answer he gives is...
Let me turn that in.
The conclusion, he says, when all has been heard is... Fear God and keep his commandments, because this applies to every person. For God will bring every act to judgment, everything which is hidden, whether it is good or evil.
Oh, wow.
And that's how it ends.
Yeah, that's kind of like...
I think that's the conclusion he comes to after all of this that he's been through in life. He's been foolish. He's seen foolish people. He's had the wisdom of all of these books he's read and all of this knowledge and all of these things he's attained. He's experienced both extremes and seen it in other people and has realized that was a waste.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I mean, I'll let you close with this one. You can close with it, but this is one that makes you really think.
Yeah, it really does. So what I'm going to ask you guys listening is, what are you chasing that might be just you striving after the wind? Good question to end with. So thanks for listening today, and we will see you on the journey.
We all pray.